So we know that liquidator's final statement account is prepared by the person called as liquidator. So what is his duty? His duty is to realize the assets of the company and distribute the surplus of the company among the right claimants as per the mode of payment prescribed in the association of the company or in the memorandum of association of the company. So now mode of winding up we know by the tribunal and by the voluntary winding up. By the tribunal means with the help of court order, voluntary means without the court order by passing the resolution at the board meeting. Then we came across format of liquidators final statement of account. If you see the format here, this is very important from the point of view of solving the problem. Receipt side, all the items which whatever is there in the receipt side, you should consider whenever the cash comes to the liquidator. That means cash or bank balance available in the company. That means cash comes to the liquidator. Assets realized, when the assets are realized, again cash comes in. That is why it is written in the receipt side. Surplus from secured creditor, when the secured creditor realizes the asset, and if there is any surplus after deducting their dues, they will give it back to the liquidator. That is why surplus is written on the receipt side of the balance sheet. Similarly, if you see contributory is nothing but if there is any payment is to be made to the shareholder. Contributor is someone who is a member of the company. It may be a present member or the past member. Similarly, payment, see this mode of payment is nothing but order in which the liquidator has to make the payment. That is known as mode of payment. So here under payment we know there is one order is given in the format. Secured creditor need to be paid first. Then there is a legal charges need to be paid. Then there is a liquidator remuneration. Then liquidation expenses are there. Then debenture holder needs to be paid along with the outstanding debenture interest if any. Then there is a preferential creditor, then there is unsecured creditor, then preference shareholders are there, then finally equity shareholders need to be paid. So this is the format of liquidator's final statement of account. And here one thing is very important. What do you mean by creditor? So creditor is a person who has given the money to the company. That is why at the time of winding up he has every right to ask his money back, isn't it? That is why those creditor who is having preferential treatment or those creditors who are considered as a preferential creditor needs to be paid first. So that is understood, because preferential payment need to be given first, then remaining amount is given to the unsecured creditor. That is regarding creditor. Similarly, shareholder also given the money to the company at the time of purchasing the shares, isn't it? At the time of purchasing the shares they have given the money to the company. So at the time of winding up of the company needs to return back their capital along with the dividend if any, whenever we are talking about preference shareholder. And equity shareholder, if there is any surplus available after making the payment to all the shareholder, it is to be given to the equity shareholder. So all this process is conducted by the person known as liquidator, and for his services what he'll get commission or remuneration he will get. How he will get the remuneration he will get in terms of percentage, or he will get remuneration in terms of share. Usually remuneration is given in terms of percentage. So what happens, it may be on the asset realized of the company, or it may be on the amount given to the unsecured creditor of the company, or it may be on the amount paid to the shareholders of the company. So depending upon the adjustment given in the problem. Then we discussed how the liquidator is given the payment, that is liquidator can get the payment when the amount is available to pay, the full amount is available to pay to the unsecured creditor. Then normal way of calculating liquidator's remuneration, if there is 2%, 2 by 100 we can do. Then if the amount is not available, then what we need to do, that is 2 by 102. So that we need to see while solving the problem. Then preferential creditor, there is any overriding preferential payment like workman's due if any is there, then that need to be considered first. If there is any tax due to the authority, that may be considered first. If there is any salary is not paid for 4 months, that need to be considered first before making any other payment to the preference shareholder. Especially salary due for a month, let us say 4 months salary is due, and that amount should not exceed 20,000. So there is a maximum limit also. Then officers due do not get any priority in terms of payment. So officers due you can consider it as unsecured creditor. we saw one problem yesterday. So let us discuss that problem once again fastly. See this, Sadashiva Limited went into voluntary liquidation. So here Sadashiva Limited is one company. It chooses to close its operation at one given date. So they have given the details at the time of liquidation. One is assets realized. See this, assets realized given, that is 3,80,000. So this is nothing but total assets realized by the liquidator. So here they have not mentioned who is going to realize the asset. So there are two ways in which the assets can be realized. One is by the liquidator, and one more thing is by the secured creditor among themselves. So here if nothing is given, we'll assume that it is realized by the liquidator. That too, main asset is realized by the liquidator every time, 3,80,000, excluding the security given to the secured creditor. That is why these securities, whatever the security amount is given to the secured creditor, that they will realize at their own cost. So that we need to treat separately. Then similarly, share capital is given. Only share capital information we know, that is of no use from the point of view of problem, unless there is a payment to be made to the shareholders. So it is of no use as of now. Then secured creditor is given. Secured creditor is 35,000. So this is nothing but secured creditor's due amount from the company is 35,000. If you see the question, it is very clear. 35,000 is the secured creditor due amount. Now security realized, again, now security realized, they have not mentioned who is realizing the security, whether liquidator or secured creditor. Since securities are separately given to the secured creditor, that is given in the first adjustment, now we will assume that this security is realized by secured creditor themselves. So at the time of realizing the security, got the amount worth of 45,000. Their due is 35,000. Amount they got is 45,000. So there is a difference of 10,000. 45,000 minus 35,000, 10,000 difference is there. So that 10,000 difference, what they will do, they will give it back to the liquidator. Why they will give it back to the liquidator? So that he can make the distribution in a smooth way. So other parties are also stand in the line to receive the payment. After making the payment to the secured creditor, other party also want to get their payment back. That is why whatever the surplus here secured creditor will get, he will return back to the liquidator. That is 10,000. Preferential creditor is given, so that is directly mentioned in the problem, 26,000. Unsecured creditor, that is 1,85,000. So in the problem, if nothing is mentioned, this unsecured creditor will be our balancing figure. That means after making the payment to all the parties, final payment is to be made to the unsecured creditor by the liquidator. So this unsecured creditor is our balancing figure. That means amount due to the unsecured creditor given in the question, 1,85,000. Now while solving the problem, we need to see what is the amount available with the company to make the payment to the unsecured creditor. That is very important. So then we need to compare. Whenever we are comparing, we will come to know whether the amount is more than the due, whatever the due that is there with unsecured creditor, or whether the amount is less than the due of the unsecured creditor. If it is more than the due, then well and good, the entire amount is given to the unsecured creditor. If it is less than the amount due, then what happens? Then proportionate payment is made to the unsecured creditor. That we need to see. Then debenture holders having floating charges on asset, that is 2 lakh directly mentioned. Liquidation expenses 6250, that is also given. Liquidator remuneration is also directly given. You need to prepare liquidator's final statement of account. So this is just basic for problem, you can say. This is a 6-mark basic problem. Nothing much calculation is there in this. Just you need to apply the amount in the format. That's it. Now if you see in the book of Sadashiva Limited, liquidator's final statement of account, see this. Now there are two ways. One is debit side and one more is credit side. If you see the debit side, that is a receipt. Whatever the cash comes to the liquidator, are going to write in the debit side, that is under receipt. Then payment, whatever the payment made by the liquidator to the required claimant or right claimant, that is to be considered under payment side. So that comes under credit side. So now if you see receipt side, first information, cash or bank, that is not given in the problem. That is why here we have written nil. If it is given, you have to write the amount here, cash and bank balance. Then Next is asset realized. Asset realized, all other asset. All other asset, if you see, 3,80,000 they have mentioned. 3,80,000 is the asset. So it is realized by the liquidator. So we will consider asset realized as 3,80,000 directly from the question. Amount is given. Now next thing, surplus from secured creditor. Surplus from secured creditor, we know 35,000 is a secured creditor amount due. But when they are realizing the security, they got 45,000. Difference amount is paid back to the liquidator. 45 minus 35,000. This 10,000 is given back to the liquidator. That is why it is written under receipt side. Surplus from secured creditor. Whenever whenever they are returning the surplus to the liquidator, what happens here? This side, payment to the secured creditor, you should consider nil. Nil information you should write. So that is the rule that you need to keep in mind. Whenever secured creditor is making the payment or giving the surplus to the liquidator, only receipt side there is an entry, payment side there is no entry, secured creditor nil. Then contributor is in this question not there, that is why nil. So now you can directly calculate the total of the receipt side. 3,80,000 plus 10,000, 3,90,000. Obviously this 3,90,000 is the total of the side, because receipts are more in this problem and payment is less. So 3,90,000 is a total of the both the side. Now payment side, if you see, there is a secured creditor. Secured creditor nil. We have already discussed. Legal charges, that is not given, that is why nil. Liquidator's remuneration directly given. Sometimes they'll ask you to calculate liquidator's remuneration. Then you need to calculate depending upon the percentage. Here they have directly mentioned in the problem. See this liquidator remuneration 8750. So you can directly write here 8750. Then liquidation expenses, that is also directly given 6250. So that also you can consider directly here. Debentures also directly mentioned in the problem. So debenture having floating charges on the asset, so that is also given, so that you can write it directly, that is 2 lakh. Preferential creditor, again they have mentioned it directly, 26,000 in the question. So now unsecured creditor is our balancing figure, I have already told you. Then the preference shareholder, that is nil, not there, no payment to the preference shareholder. Equity shareholder is also nil, no payment to the equity shareholder. Now we know the total 3,90,000. Now what we need to see, now we need to get the balancing figure, that is the amount paid to the unsecured creditor after making the payment to all other parties. So this receipt side total, we know 3,90,000 minus liquidator's remuneration 8750, minus liquidation expenses 6250, minus debenture 2 lakh, minus preferential creditor 26,000. So now if you deduct all those things, you will get 1,49,000, isn't it? So that 1,49,000 is the balancing figure. So once you get the balancing figure, so the problem is over. Then below that you need to show how much unsecured creditor will get, how much unsecured creditor will get in, for every 1 rupee. So for that you need to make the calculation. How to make the calculation? Now you need to see unsecured creditor given in the question, that is 1,85,000. This is the actual amount due by the company to the unsecured creditor. That means here company needs to give unsecured creditor 1,85,000. But whatever the amount now company is having, that is 1,49,000 only. So here proportionate payment is made to the unsecured creditor. That is why 1,49,000 divided by original amount 1,85,000. So you will get 0.8054. So it is clearly understood, for every 1 rupee unsecured creditor will get 0.80 paisa, or else in terms of percentage also you can express 0.8054 into 100, that is 80.54%. So this is how you are going to solve this problem. So any doubt in this problem? In the last class also we have discussed this problem. Yes, tell me, have you understood this problem? Yes, tell me. Shifali, yes, Shifali, Pratish. I hope everyone understood this one. So now let us see the second problem. Second problem we need to discuss here. Problem number 2. See this problem number 2. Here we need to see this problem carefully. Aroma Limited. Aroma Limited went into voluntary liquidation. The following was its position. So now assets realized. Again in the question they have given you asset realized. This 4 lakh rupees is realized by the liquidator. So that is confirmed because this is overall asset. Asset means it includes all the assets of the company. Fixed asset, various types of fixed asset, building, plant and machinery. Everything is included in this. So now excluding the security given to the secured creditor, and after realizing this 4 lakh rupees, some of the securities is given to the secured creditor. Why? Because they have given the money to the company and they want some collateral or they want some securities in case company doesn't pay. That is why some of the securities are given to secured creditor. Then share capital is given 1 lakh rupee. Again they have just mentioned the share capital. They have not said whether to give back the share capital or not. So as of now that is of no use, share capital. Then secured creditor 35,000, securities realized 45,000. So now similar to the previous problem. So amount due 35,000, but the secured creditor is realizing it for 45,000. So what happens? There is a difference of 10,000 rupees. So that is to be given back by the secured creditor to the liquidator. That you can enter in the receipt side under surplus from secured creditor. That is 10,000 rupees. So that is clear now. Then preferential creditor is given 10,000 rupees. Unsecured creditor is given 1,50,000 rupees. So here preferential creditor needs to be paid first before making any payment to the unsecured creditor. So why unsecured creditor is going to get the payment at the end? Because he do not have any collateral against the amount which he has given to the company. That means for his amount he do not have any kind of protection. In case the company doesn't pay the amount, he can't do anything. He just he can wait. That's it. So that is what unsecured creditor is. So now unsecured creditor is 1,50,000. That is mentioned in the problem. Next, debentures having the floating charges on the assets of the company. So that is 2,50,000. Again this information is directly mentioned. Then liquidation expenses 5,000 rupees. Liquidators remuneration, that is 10,000 rupees. Now what you need to do? This adjustment you need to see. Prepare liquidator's final statement of accounts allowing for his remuneration. Whose remuneration? Liquidator's remuneration at 2% on the amount realized and 2% on the amount distributed to unsecured creditor other than preferential creditor. So here in this problem they have directly mentioned, they have specifically given what they have done. They have given you fixed amount of liquidator's remuneration along with the fixed amount. On certain percentage basis also liquidator will get the remuneration. So first you need to write the fixed amount of remuneration, then on the asset realized you need to calculate the remuneration, then third one you need to calculate the remuneration on the amount given to the unsecured creditor. Sometimes they will just mention on the amount distributed to the unsecured creditor. In that case what you need to do? So unless and otherwise stated in the problem, this is very important, unless and otherwise stated in the problem, unsecured creditor also includes preferential creditor, but in this problem they have mentioned it. They have mentioned it specifically. See this, other than the preferential creditor. That means now preferential creditor at the time of calculating liquidator's remuneration we should ignore. Only we should concentrate on unsecured creditor amount. That's it. So after discussing all these things, now we need to enter the amount in the format. So now the solution part, liquidator's final statement of account. If you see here, now receipt side we need to discuss one by one. So whether in the receipt side or whether in the question cash or bank balance is given. No. So why, if there is a cash and bank balance, if it is mentioned, why we need to write under receipt side? That is also a very important question. Why? Because that is cash in hand at the time of liquidation, you can say, or that is cash at bank at the time of liquidation, you can say. So what does that mean? So that amount you can utilize for making the required payments to the concerned parties. So that is why if cash and bank balance is given in the question, you should consider it under receipt side. That is nil in this question, that they have not mentioned. Now assets realized, now very important, assets realized they have given you directly. So directly you can write 4 lakh rupees as assets realized. So same thing we have written here, 4 lakh under assets realized. Now surplus from secured creditor, this is also similar to the previous problem. So here surplus is given by the secured creditor to the liquidator. That means here securities are realized by the secured creditor. Whatever the securities which is given to the secured creditor separately, it is realized by the secured creditor themselves, and it is not realized by the liquidator. That is why here 45,000 minus 35,000. From where we got 45 minus 35,000? If you see this, just a difference amount. 45,000 is a realized, whatever is the due is 35,000. 45 minus 35, 10,000. So 10,000 you need to consider under receipt side, under surplus from secured creditor. Now contributory, why contributory is nil? Here they have not mentioned any information regarding the payment to the shareholder. If there is any information regarding the payment to the shareholder, for example for the preference shareholder, or for example for equity shareholder, in that case what happens? In that case we need to consider if there is any surplus balance, then we can consider under contributory. So now for the time being this contributory is not there, that is why it is nil. So now in the receipt side we know only 4 items we have to enter: cash and bank, asset realized, surplus from secured creditor, contributory. That's it. So now we know the receipt side total. Receipt side total is 4,10,000. That is nothing but 4 lakh plus 10,000. Yes, now we need to see payment side. One by one payment side we need to see. Now payment side, first information, if you see here, that is secured creditor information. Secured creditor, if you see the question, they have given secured creditor information is given, but why we are considering it as nil? Why we are considering it can you tell me what is the reason why we should not write secured creditor in the payment side? Can anyone tell me the reason? Can you comment in the chat box here? Yes, tell me why payment side secured creditor is nil. See, what do you mean by the payment side? Payment side means whatever the amount paid by the liquidator is to be written in the payment side. Now, secured creditors are not paid by the liquidator. They themselves realize the securities. That is why now secured creditor is paying the amount to the liquidator. Opposite here. That is why surplus is given by the secured creditor to the liquidator. So there is no payment made by the liquidator to the secured creditor. That is why in the payment side there is a nil information or zero information you should write, even if there is amount given in the question. So secured creditor is nil. Legal charges not mentioned in the problem, so that is why it is nil. Legal charges, some of the court charges at the time of liquidation, if it is given, you have to consider it. Then liquidator's remuneration. Now this is very important. So here we need to prepare some of the working note to the problem. So whenever we are talking about liquidator's remuneration, we need to consider some of the working note. So first thing you can write here, liquidator's remuneration fixed. What do you mean by fixed? The amount which is mentioned in the question directly, that is fixed amount. Liquidator's remuneration 10,000 rupees, that is fixed, right? So that fixed amount you have to write first. So liquidator remuneration, under that fixed 10,000 we have written. Now second thing, on asset realized, this is very important. So here you can write on asset realized with the help of working note. WN you can write working note, and just below the problem, now we will move below the problem, there we have done some of the working note. See this calculation of liquidators remuneration, working note we have to do. So first fixed we know that is 10,000. Now on the asset realized, he is going to get the remuneration, liquidator. So what and all assets are realized by the company? If you see here, company's assets, that is total asset is 4 lakh. See this total assets we know, that is 4 lakh rupees. Then one more asset is there. What is that? Securities realized 45,000. That is by secured creditor, but even though it is by the secured creditor, it is company's asset, isn't it? That is why now this also we need to consider. 4 lakh rupees, that is asset realized by the liquidator, plus 45,000 rupees asset realized by the secured creditor. Both we have to consider, since it is company's asset, it is company's things. So that is why now you need to make the total. So if you add both the things, you will get the total 4 lakh plus 45,000 rupees. So that is nothing but 4 lakh 45,000 rupees. So now 4 lakh 45,000 rupees into what is the percentage? What is the percentage given? See this here, if you see for his remuneration at 2% on the amount realized. So 2% they have mentioned. So 4,45,000 into 2%. If you do, you will get 8,900. That is on the amount to unsecured creditor other than preferential creditor. Since they have mentioned other than preferential creditor, we should not calculate. If they have not given, then on preferential creditor also we need to take 2% if it is not mentioned in the problem. And one more very important thing here, we need to consider 4,45,000 is the amount is there, right? So here for asset realized it is 2/100. Why? Because there is a sufficient amount available. Why? Because if you see here, asset realized amount is 4 lakh. Now it is realized at a higher value. So directly 2/100 you can do, that is 8,900. So this 8,900 we need to write in the format, that is on asset realized working note 8,900 we have calculated. So after writing this on the amount to the unsecured creditor also we need to calculate liquidator's remuneration, because in the problem they have asked you. See this, if you see the problem, 2% on the amount distributed to unsecured creditors. So now for the time being we have to leave this as it is. So this is we'll leave as it is. Now we'll move on to the next item. So that is liquidation expenses. Liquidation expenses, what happens? It is given in the problem, 5,000. Same you need to write 5,000. Then debenture having floating charges on asset, that is also mentioned in the problem, 2,50,000. Same information you need to write here, 2,50,000. Then preferential creditor. What about preferential creditor here? Preferential creditor, whether they have mentioned it in the problem? Yes, they have given. See this preferential creditor is 10,000. So that directly you can write here preferential creditor 10,000. So now what about unsecured creditor? Unsecured creditor, if you see, that is a balancing figure in this problem. Preference shareholder after unsecured creditor, if there is any remaining amount, it is to be paid to preference shareholder as well as to the equity shareholder, but they have not mentioned in the question whether a liquidator has to make the payment to the shareholders or not. So that is why here preference shareholder is nil, equity shareholder is nil. So that means final amount is given to unsecured creditor. That is very clear in this problem. So unsecured creditor is our balancing figure. So now what is asked in the question? On the amount distributed to unsecured creditor. That means now we need to find balance between the debit side as well as credit side. Debit side is receipt, credit side is payment. So now we need to get what is the difference between the debit side and what is the difference of credit side. If there is any difference in the amount of debit side and credit side, that we need to consider. So how to get the difference now? Difference we need to see. First we will see the receipt side total. See this receipt side total 4,10,000, right? 4,10,000, that is 4 lakh plus 10,000. So 4,10,000 minus one things. Now one information we need to minus from this payment side information. 4,10,000 minus liquidator remuneration 10,000 we need to deduct. Then asset realized 8,900. On the asset realized 8,900 we need to deduct. This we have calculated with the help of working note. Why we are deducting? Just to know how much money is available in the hands of liquidator or how much money is available in the company to pay to the unsecured creditor. That is why we need to minus the payment side information one by one. So now we have deducted this 8,900 also from 4,10,000 and 10,000 fixed remuneration also we have deducted. Now this information is there, right? This information, see this on amount to unsecured creditor, this we have not calculated yet. So this information you should not consider now. It is yet to be calculated. After getting the amount available to the unsecured creditor, on that amount you need to calculate this information. So that is why this information leave as it is. So don't add this one. So don't deduct this one, 2473. Now liquidation expenses, this we have written minus 5,000. Debenture having floating charges on asset minus 2,50,000. Preferential creditor, that is minus 10,000. So now see this. Now you need to do one more working note you can do here. What is that? On the amount due to unsecured creditor other than preferential creditor, see this. 4,10,000 minus 10,000 minus 8,900 minus 5,000 minus 2,000, 2,50,000 minus 10,000. Yes. So if you do all these minuses, you will finally get one amount, that is 1,26,100. So this 1,26,100 is there, right? So that is nothing but amount available in the hands of liquidator after making the payment to all concerned party. Now remaining amount is to be given to the unsecured creditor. So this amount, on this amount we need to calculate what is the remuneration. Remuneration, it is given in the question. Remuneration, what is that remuneration? 2% on the amount distributed to unsecured creditor. So now on this you need to take 2%, but here 2 by 102. Why 2 by 102? This is also very important. In the previous step we have calculated on the asset realized, there we have done 2 by 100, but here 2 by 102. Why? Because here amount available with the company, or here amount available with liquidator is not sufficient to pay to the liquidator. Why it is not sufficient? I will tell you how to know that whether amount is sufficient or not sufficient. Just you need to check the unsecured creditor information given in the question. What is the information given in the question here? Unsecured creditor, see this, 1,50,000. 1,50,000 is a due amount, but now after making all the payment, company is having only 1,26,100. That means here amount is not sufficient. This 1,26,100 is less than 1,50,000 obviously. So amount is not sufficient. Whenever amount is not sufficient, we have to make a 2 by 102. This is with the help of formula. It is given in the theory part, that you can check there. 2 by 102, if you do, you will get 2,473. 2,473 is there, right? So that is nothing but the same amount. Now you have to write under liquidator's remuneration, under that on the amount to unsecured creditor, working note. So here you have to write working note. So that is 2,473 that we have considered here. Now after writing the remuneration, liquidator's remuneration, all three part, now finally what is the amount given to unsecured creditor, that also we need to find out. So how to find out that? Now you need to minus all the things. Now you need to minus receipt side total, we know. Now you need to minus all the things. You will get what? A final amount given to unsecured creditor. Or else what you can do? Very simple. This working note is there, right? On the amount to unsecured creditor, there we got 1,26,100. So from this 1,26,100, just minus this one, 2,473. That also you can do. Or else minus everything. Or else you can do this one, 1,26,100 minus 2,473. That is nothing but remuneration paid. So remaining amount you will get 1,23,627. This 1,23,627 is nothing but balancing figure. See this, unsecured creditor balancing figure, 1,23,627. So now if you make the total, it will tally 4,10,000 both the side. Now one more thing you need to do after doing this one, how much unsecured creditor will get for every 1 rupee, that also we need to calculate. So that is nothing but original amount of unsecured creditor 1,50,000, balance paid to the unsecured creditor 1,23,627. So balance amount 1,23,627 divided by original amount 1,50,000. So just divide, you will get 0.82 per share. That means for every 1 rupee, unsecured creditor will get 0.82 per share. So this is how you are going to calculate this 6 mark problem. Yes, you tell me.